Only Americans who's concerned with the Somali business is the ones who have no life. They have a lot of time in their hand. They broke. They don't have no money, no ambition, nothing. They don't even have hobbies. They depressed. They lonely.
So you mean to tell me you went all the way to Minnesota just to pocket watch? And then on top of that, put out misinformation. I'm sick and tired of them, bro. They stay hating on us, bro. For what, bro? Like, leave us alone.
People you will see who's worrying about this is not even racist. They just broke. They just don't have anything going on. They broke.
So, all right, guys, what is up? Welcome back to another video. So if you haven't seen on Twitter and social media in general, the Somali daycare scam has been blowing up on social media. Nick Shirley went there. If you guys don't know who that is, go check out his channel. He makes some great documentary style content. And recently he went to Mineapolis, where there's a bunch of Somalis there, and there's a Somalian daycare where, you know, they're literally just stealing money. There's no people in there, no children in there. So not sure what's really going on there. But this video we have today is, I'm not even sure this guy's name. It's kind of irrelevant. But this video is called Nick Shirley Gets Attacked by Somalis and Hassanabi by More Fraud Exposed. So this should be a pretty interesting video. Let's hear what this guy has to say, and then I'll obviously give my thoughts after him.
This story just took a sharp turn. The massive fraud story starts blowing up. Millions of dollars in taxpayer money being stolen allegedly. Daycare centers, no kids, actual state violations. And instead of talking about the fraud, one of the biggest streamers on the internet decides to go after the guy investigating it. Not questioning the documents or the violations or questioning where the money went. No. He's just questioning why someone would even look. And you see it from here, this tweet from Hassan. I don't know what kind of fraud Somalis and daycares are doing, but I think it's a separate crime to try to storm with a camera into a daycare with kids in it. He doesn't know what kind of fraud is going on. Maybe he should, like, I don't know, research it. He does spend hours streaming, talking about politics. Maybe he should do some kind of research. And we're going to talk about this situation. And as you see in the video I just showed you earlier, there's a lot of people who are upset about this. There's people who don't want this to be investigated. So we're going to talk about that and more in this video today. Let's get into it. Before we can even get into Nick Shirley, we need some more context with this streamer here by the name of Hassan. He is one of the biggest political streamers on the internet. He goes on Twitch, millions of followers, huge influence. I think he's also a friend of my, I guess, future mayor, Zohan Mandami. So he brands himself as an anti-capitalist, eat the rich, anti-corporate, anti-establishment. But here's the contradiction. Hassan lives extremely well. He lives in a luxury home, expensive cars, high-end lifestyle funded by the same capitalist system that he criticizes. That alone wouldn't matter, but it becomes important when he lectures others about morality, power, and accountability. Hassan has a long track record of downplaying or reframing certain crimes, especially when those crimes don't fit neatly into his political worldview. He has been criticized for minimizing riots and property crime, treating enforcement as the bigger problem than the offense, attacking investigators instead of engaging the evidence. He also been surrounded by controversies for years. Old comments about 9/11 still resurface.
And so here we are. I'm living up to what I said about conservatives and progressives. We're having a conversation. So you said America deserved 9/11. Did you mean that?
Yeah. Foreign policy takes that critic.
So yeah, that's, you guys just saw about the clip. It's absolutely insane. He said Americans deserve 9/11. And recently he went to China and he was saying how great China is. And then in that clip, they were like telling him to stop recording. So he said he's not patriotic towards America, but only in the US he'd be able to criticize the American government and just America as a whole and get away with it. So he goes to China and he says all these things, but if he was in China and he criticized anything about China, he'd literally be thrown in jail, or he'd probably be disappeared if he had that big of an influence and he was talking shit about China or the Chinese government. So just an absolute hypocrite overall.
Say echo propaganda talking points and repeated allegations that he relies on his ideology first and the facts second. Also, there's some viral clips about how he handles his dog using shock collars and then pretending that he didn't. So there's a lot of issues. I think at this point, Hassan is getting into low-cal territory where people make fun of him even when he is out in the field. So it's interesting that he decided to go after Nick Shirley on this situation. And let's break down the tweet and actually hit some of the responses. So Nick Shirley actually had a response for that tweet right there. People like this commie literally shock their dogs and complain about America 24/7. And when someone actually leaves their room to do something, wait for it, they defend the criminals. There's times where he was able to show, even with no camera crew, anyone around him, by wearing the Ray-Ban Meta glasses that have a camera in it, that there were no kids. Nick Shirley wasn't storming into daycares. He wasn't filming kids because, first of all, there weren't any children. And he wasn't chasing children with a camera. From the footage, you can see in this one right here where he goes and talks about, you know, the idea of, hey, can I check out the facility for my son Joey? I want to enroll him in a daycare. He was alone and he was wearing glasses that had a camera, so there was no camera crew, and he was asking basic questions.
But I'm determined to see this through and to correct what is wrong, what is evil.
Here at Future Leaders Early Learning Center, this building received over $3 million. Hello, how are you? I would like to see if I could bring little Joey, my son little Joey here. Is there paperwork or can I check out the daycare? No. Why can't I check out the daycare? Okay, but if I can't get paperwork or anything to submit my son little Joey to come in here to daycare?
Little Joey.
We'd really like to put Joey in this daycare. We've heard great things.
Business card?
No, I would like your business card actually.
You talk to your manager.
Okay, can I speak with somebody? Where are the children at? Are there children here today?
No.
No children.
Yeah.
Why are there no children?
There are two athletes coming.
Would my son little Joey have friends to play with here?
No.
No. No, no friends for little Joey.
Yes. Sorry.
Ah, dang it. Well, have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
So, little Joey would not.
Like I said, he even says he wants to bring his own child.
Yeah, that was absolutely insane. I didn't watch the full video yet. I saw some clips circulating online, but Nick Shirley is literally a non-biased journalist. Like, yeah, he'll make a few comments on Twitter or, you know, kind of make the videos that are a little bit conservative or right-leaning, but he's very non-biased. And he genuinely goes to these protests or these places and just documents it. So it's insane that people are attacking him for literally just showing what's going on. Like going to these cities and people are calling him racist. Like, what? He's literally just showing what's going on and talking to the people and the locals here. So it's absolutely mind-boggling to me.
Request gets denied. So if you pause it right there, if a daycare is funded for dozens of kids and no one is there, that's not creepy to ask questions. That's called due diligence. Anyone who actually has children would check out a daycare with or without their kid present. I've checked out daycares and schools where my son wasn't with me. You don't just drop off your child off blind. Parents should be asking questions. Parents should look around. Parents want proof that the place is real, safe, and is operating. That's not suspicious. That's normal behavior for anyone who has a kid. And this is where Hassan just jumps in with a bunch of weird arguments. It seems like his argument goes like this. I don't know if fraud is happening. I'm not even going to bother to research it, but you can't just go into daycares. Notice what's missing. He doesn't say that the fraud isn't real. He doesn't say that the documents are fake. He doesn't say that the violations didn't happen. And we'll be talking about those violations in just a second. Instead, he reframes it as a children's safety issue. That's emotional cover. But the investigation isn't about kids. Therefore, the fraud question disappears. And that's where this back and forth goes on. Promoted, some Zionist, blah, blah, blah. I mean, a lot of this is a distraction. All that is a distraction because none of these accusations answers the actual question. Is there fraud happening here or not? This reminds me of the Letitia James situation. The issue went from, did she actually commit fraud to, well, Trump doesn't like Letitia James and that's why she's going after her. No, we're here about the fraud. If Hassan thinks that Nick is wrong, it's the easiest solution. Go investigate. Hassan is a very wealthy streamer, probably a multimillionaire. He has the money, he has the platform, he has the time. So why don't he just go there himself? Why not look at the centers? Why not pull the records? Why not talk to officials? Because that would actually require dealing with the facts instead of the framing and emotion. That's why I just say this is just misdirection. So let's actually talk about the misspelled learning center and the amount of
Learings.
violations they have.
Turns out that the Quality Learing Center, supposed to be the Quality Learning Center, has received 13 violations and has been investigated multiple times just in the last 4 years by the Department of Human Services in Minnesota. And all of this is
Learing
public
Center.
record information. Anybody can find it by just typing the address 1411 Nicollet Avenue. And immediately I found this public information from the Department of Human Services in Minnesota. This checks out to be the spot. It's a child care center, total capacity 99. And as you guys can see, these are all the list of various violations and investigations of this place. Since May 9th, 2022, they've been investigated and received violations over 13 different times. For things like children did not have daily access to interest areas, areas that are used by children are not in good repair, crib mattresses and/or sheets did not meet the safety requirements. They even got a violation because the program did not report a death, serious injury, fire, or emergency properly. Obviously, the state has been looking into this place for a while, so it makes you question why didn't they notice the amount of fraud there. All it took was Nick Shirley pulling up to the place and seeing that there's no children there to determine that obviously something is wrong here. You have people coming from the state 13 different times in the last 4 years and they didn't notice this? Obviously, this is something that needs to be looked into to see just how much did state and city officials play a role in all of this fraud.
So this learning center has 13 documented violations.
So yeah, that's absolutely insane. This was a big meme online, the Learing Center. It's like, how's that still up? That's not that hard of a fix either. Like, if you're gonna misspell it because you obviously don't know English because you came straight from the boat from Somalia, at least learn how to spell it again later, just fix it. And then the 13 cases, why is this place still getting funding? Why does this place still exist? Why is it a thing? Really just makes you question the whole corruption from the top down and where this money's going to. And this is where the money's going to. Where is it going to if it's not a daycare, if there isn't children there? Who's taking the money? Why is it going there?
Investigated multiple times over the years by the state. Unsafe facilities, poor conditions, failure to report serious problems, basic health care standards not being met. All public record. So you ask yourself, so how does a 23-year-old YouTuber notice all this in one visit, but state inspectors miss it over and over? Because that's negligence here. And Hassan is not the only one trying to criticize Nick Shirley or anyone who's investigating this. There's another viral Somali clip from this person right here that says anyone who's investigating this is broke, depressed, and has no life.
Only Americans who's concerned with the Somali business is the ones who have no life. They have a lot of time in their hand. They broke. They don't have no money, no ambition, nothing. They don't even have hobbies. They depressed. They lonely. You know, it's always those type of people who care about situations like this. You know? People who have something going on for their life, right? They're busy in their career, their family, they taking vacation, they're enjoying their life. You know, they're not concerned with the Somalians in Mineapolis, Minnesota. Only people you will see who's worrying about this is not even racist. They just broke. They just don't have anything going on. They're broken spiritually, physically, and financially. That's what it is. They don't have any.
That's the argument. Not like,
Yeah, so I guess if you're concerned where your tax dollars are going to, or why there's a daycare that has 13 violations in your city, like, yeah, obviously you're gonna be concerned. No, but you're broke. This is their argument. You're fucking broke. You're ugly. Like, why is this Somalian invader trying to lecture people about asking questions about what's going on in their country? It's absolutely disgusting and insane. The arrogance of these fucking people is insane. And I'm not saying all the Somalis are like this, but man, these invaders have such fucking arrogance. They should be grateful. They should be absolutely fucking grateful that they're allowed in this amazing country. But instead, their fucking egos and their arrogance and their whatever the fuck, it makes them act like this. Oh, you're broke for asking questions where your tax dollars are going to. Well, they're fucking disappearing and someone's taking them. Absolutely disgusting.
like this isn't fraud or there's no proof or here's where the money went. Just insults, which shows if the system is clean, why attack the question instead of answering it. There seems like there is a group of people who do not want this investigated because a lot of money will no longer be available to take. So people are going to use every emotional to get people to stop investigating it. It's too late. The story got too big. And while Tim Walz sits there and posts pictures of his cat, they don't want this to be out in public. And it seems like there's issues actually happening in Ohio. I'll probably be doing a video on that as well, where a lot of people are just ripping off a lot of the taxpayers. We have so much issues in the country with homelessness, with the quality of life and the living costs being so high. And all this money is just basically being pissed away. And it needs to stop. It doesn't make any sense. So when it comes to this streamer here, he talks about eat the rich, but he lives rich. He downplays certain crimes depending on who commits them. Those old comments about 9/11 still follow him. And all of the long-running criticisms and how he just, at this point, becomes a locale, treating his daughter like crap. That's why I always say there's always a pattern, and they do matter. Because here, it doesn't feel like concern. This feels like a reflective defense. This story isn't about filming kids or about internet beef. It's about taxpayer money, oversight, fraud, and accountability. If the fraud isn't real, prove it. If the centers are legit, show it. But attacking investigators instead of answering questions, that is just a bunch of nonsense. We're going to have more stories on this as it unfolds. And also,
Well, all right, guys, that was actually a solid video from this guy. He had common sense at least, and he was actually questioning it. And again, it's not a right versus left issue even. It's just if you're an American and you're curious about where your tax dollars are going to and why these people who are invaders of your country are getting money, yeah, you should be asking questions. And this is a problem, and more people need to shine a light on this. But anyways, guys, let me know in the comments below. Should I go to Minneapolis and check it out for myself? Because I wanted to go, but I didn't have a chance yet. But it still seems like it's a good idea to go because I'm curious to see for myself what's going on there. So yeah, let me know in the comments below. And as always, guys, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel. It really helps out the algorithm. Let me know what other videos or what else to react to, and see you all next time.